When you hear the words Kama Sutra, what's the first thing that comes to mind? For many people, it's a book filled with complicated and gymnastic positions. It's often seen as an ancient, exotic manual purely about physical intimacy. But what if I told you that's only a tiny part of the story? What if the book everyone thinks they know is actually something much deeper, much more profound, and surprisingly relevant to modern life? The Kama Sutra is one of the most misunderstood texts in history. It's time to separate the myths from the reality and discover what this ancient guide is truly about. Let's start with the basics. The Kama Sutra was written in Sanskrit, likely between the 2nd and 4th centuries CE. The author is believed to be a sage and philosopher named Vaitsijana Malanaga. Vaitsijana wasn't just writing a simple guide. He was compiling knowledge from various earlier texts known as the Kama Shastras. His goal was to create a comprehensive work on the art of living well. The very name Kama Sutra gives us a clue. Sutra means thread or line that holds things together, essentially a collection of principles or aphorisms. And Kama? Well, that's where things get interesting. In Hindu philosophy, there are 4 main goals of human life, known as the Purusharthas. These are Dharma, which means righteous living and moral duties; Artha, which refers to material prosperity and success; and Moksha, the ultimate goal of spiritual liberation. The third goal is Kama, which is often translated simply as desire or pleasure. However, its meaning is much broader. Kama encompasses desire, love, emotional connection, aesthetic enjoyment, and yes, sensual pleasure. Vaitsijana's work places Kama as a noble and essential pursuit, equal in importance to Dharma and Artha. It suggests that a fulfilling life requires a balance of all 3. A life without pleasure and connection is seen as incomplete. So the Kama Sutra isn't just about one specific act. It's a guide to navigating the entire realm of desire and human connection in a graceful, knowledgeable, and respectful way. It's a manual for a rich and fulfilling social and personal life. One of the biggest surprises for people who actually read the Kama Sutra is how much of it has nothing to do with physical positions. In fact, only about 20% of the entire text is dedicated to them. The rest of the book is a detailed guide on how to be a cultured, well-rounded individual. The book is divided into 7 distinct parts, or books. The section on intimate positions, the one everyone focuses on, is just one of these 7 parts. The first part, for example, is a general introduction. It discusses the importance of Kama in life and outlines the arts and sciences a person should learn to be considered well-educated and desirable. This included knowledge of poetry, music, painting, and even things like interior design and personal grooming. Vaitsijana believed that an attractive person was not just physically appealing, but also intellectually and artistically engaging. He advised men and women to cultivate a wide range of skills to make themselves interesting partners and members of society. This part of the book sets the stage, showing that attraction and relationships are built on a foundation far broader than just physical chemistry. It's about being a whole, fascinating person. Another major section of the Kama Sutra deals with a topic that feels incredibly modern: courtship and building relationships. Vaitsijana provides detailed advice on how to attract a partner and how to gauge their interest and character. He describes different types of unions and provides guidance on how to navigate the early stages of a relationship. It covers everything from how to initiate conversations to how to express your feelings in a way that is both honest and respectful. This isn't about manipulation or playing games. Instead, the focus is on genuine connection and understanding. The text encourages observation, empathy, and clear communication between potential partners. It emphasizes the importance of consent and mutual affection as the basis for any relationship. The idea was to build a bond based on trust and shared values, not just fleeting attraction. What's truly remarkable is how the Kama Sutra champions equality and agency, especially for women, which was quite progressive for its time. The book is not just written for men. It provides extensive advice for women as well. It details 64 arts, or kalas, that women should learn. These arts were not just for attracting a partner, but for their own personal development and independence. They included skills like singing, dancing, writing, flower arranging, and even logic and chemistry. The text assumes that women are active, intelligent participants in relationships. It describes how women can take the lead, express their own desires, and ensure their own pleasure and satisfaction. This contrasts sharply with the modern misconception of the book as being solely for male gratification. Vitsayajana clearly saw relationships as a partnership where both individuals' needs and happiness were equally important. Now, let's talk about the part that made the Kama Sutra famous, the physical positions. This section is found in the second book of the text. But even here, the focus is not what you might expect. Vitsayajana describes various types of embraces, kisses, and different ways partners can come together physically. The goal wasn't to create an acrobatic checklist to be completed. Instead, the purpose was to provide a language of physical intimacy. It was about variety, communication, and finding what works best for a specific couple. The text encouraged partners to explore and discover their own preferences together. The variety of positions was meant to keep the physical aspect of a relationship exciting and fresh over time. It was also about accommodating different moods, energy levels, and physical comfort. The underlying message is one of mutual pleasure and attentiveness. A surprising fact is that the number of positions isn't some astronomical figure. The text describes a core set of positions, which are then expanded upon with variations. The number 64 is often associated with the 64 arts, not a rigid count of positions. The Kama Sutra also goes beyond the bedroom and into the complexities of long-term relationships and married life. Later sections of the book offer practical advice for maintaining harmony and happiness within a household. It discusses how a wife should manage the home, her relationship with her husband's other family members, and how to handle disagreements. It also advises the husband on how to treat his partner with respect, trust, and affection. The text even delves into difficult situations, like how to deal with rivals, how to reignite a fading connection, and how to navigate the social dynamics of the time. It's a very practical guide to the real-life challenges of being in a partnership. This shows that Vitsayajana's vision was holistic. He understood that a healthy relationship requires ongoing effort, communication, and a deep understanding of each other's needs, both inside and outside the bedroom. So why did the Kama Sutra get this reputation as being only about physical acts? The answer lies largely in its journey to the Western world. When the British explorer and writer Sir Richard Francis Burton translated the text into English in 1883, it was during the Victorian era. This was a time of extreme social and moral rigidity, where open discussions of desire and intimacy were considered taboo. Burton's translation, though groundbreaking, was published privately to avoid prosecution for obscenity. This immediately shrouded the book in an aura of forbidden, scandalous content. Because of the cultural context, the parts of the book dealing with physical intimacy were sensationalized, while the philosophical and lifestyle advice was largely ignored. The Kama Sutra was repackaged and marketed as a scandalous sex manual. This simplified and distorted image has persisted for over a century. Abridged versions and illustrated guides often focus exclusively on the 20% of the text that deals with positions, completely removing the context and wisdom of the other 80%. The true Kama Sutra is not a scandalous book. It is a sophisticated and worldly text about the art of living a full, pleasurable, and ethical life. It's a guide to becoming a better person and a better partner. It teaches us that desire is natural, that pleasure is a valid pursuit, and that intimacy is a complex dance of mind, body, and spirit. It encourages communication, respect, and mutual satisfaction. In a world where we often separate physical intimacy from emotional connection, the Kama Sutra reminds us that they are deeply intertwined. It argues that the best relationships are built on a foundation of friendship, intellectual compatibility, and shared joy. The wisdom of Vitsayajana is timeless. Learning to be a more interesting person, communicating your needs clearly, and prioritizing your partner's happiness are as relevant today as they were nearly 2,000 years ago. The Kama Sutra is, at its heart, a guide to love in its fullest sense. Thank you for watching. For more deep dives into the world of relationships and human connection, be sure to subscribe to Sex Education Repo.